In this video, we are going to look at question 1 and 2 of Mathematics Paper 2 for External 2020. Now here we will have the first question, question 1a, given the matrix. So we have this matrix here. So it has entities such as 7, 4p, 9, and 5p here. So the first question for this problem is find the value of p which the determinant of a is negative 2. So here the first step that we need to do is we need to identify the elements from the major diagonal here. So we have major diagonal, then also the elements for minor diagonal. So these are the two important diagonals that we need to take part in. Now the formula determinant can be found by finding the difference between the entities of the major diagonal and of the minor diagonal. So it is 7 multiplied by 5p minus 9 times 4p. So 9 times 4p. Now the determinant is given is negative 2. 7 times 5p is 35p. Minus 9 times 4p is 36p. Now here we can do the math on the right sides. 35p minus 36p is negative p. So we divide by negative, also here by negative. So the value of p is positive 2. So this is our final answer. So if we are to now find the actual matrix A, so matrix A now we will have the elements 7, 9. So if we replace back here, if you substitute p by its value, so it's 4, our p is 2. 4 times 2 is, we have 8 here. Then 5 times 2, so here we get our 10. So this is our original matrix A. And we can see that if we multiply 7 times 10 is 70. 9 times 8 is 72. If we subtract 70 minus 72, we are able to get our final determinant, which is negative 2. Now let's proceed with our question here. Hence find the inverse of matrix A. So inverse of this matrix denoted by negative 1 is equal to 1 over determinant multiplied by its adjoint. So 1 over the determinant is given negative 2. Now let's find the adjoint of this matrix A. So for adjoint of matrix A, we just have to find we need to swap the elements of the major diagonal. We need to interchange the positions. So our 10 will move to this point. Then our 7 will go at this point. Now for the minor diagonal, you don't change the position, you change the signs. So our 8 becomes negative 8. Then here negative 9. So our final answer is 10, 7, negative 8, and negative 7 here. So this is how we can find the inverse of a given matrix, which is a 2 by 2 matrix. Okay, so now we move on to question B. Mutola and Mwambi were to be selected as members of a netball team. The probability of selecting Mutola is 7 over 8, and that of selecting Mwambi is 9 over 10. Find the probability of Roman number 1. Only one of them is selected. So we have been given the probability of selecting each, and the question is only one of them is selected. So here we can now find the probability of only one is selected. So this can be found by multiplying the probability of selecting Mutola times the probability of not selecting one, or probability of selecting Mwambi times probability of not selecting Mutola. So here we need to find the probability of not selecting Mutola and that of not selecting Mwambi. So here what we need to do is let's find the probability of selecting plus of not selecting is equal to 1. So let's begin by finding the probability of not selecting. So probability of selecting Mutola is 7 over 8 plus the probability of not selecting is equal to 1. So we collect the like terms. So 7 over 8 shift their side, giving us probability of not selecting is equal to 1 minus 7 over 8. So over 1, lowest common denominator is 8. 1 into 8 is 8 times 1 is 8, minus 8 into 8 is 1 times 7. So probability of not selecting Mutola is 1 over 8. Let's also find the probability of selecting plus probability of not selecting Mwambi. So probability of selecting Mwambi is 9 over 10 plus probability of not selecting Mwambi is what we are solving for. The similar step, we need to shift our 9 over 10 to the other side, giving us probability of not selecting is equal to 1 minus 9 over 10 over 1. Lowest common denominator for 1 and 10 is 10. 1 into 10 is 10 times 1 is 10, minus 10 into 10, 1 times 9 is 9. So 10 minus 9 is 1 over 10. So we have the two probabilities for Mutola and Mwambi. Now let's proceed. So probability of selecting Mutola is 7 over 8 times z. The probability of not selecting Mwambi, so you interchange, times the probability of not selecting Mwambi, which is 1 over 10. Then or means plus. Then probability of selecting Mwambi, that is Mwambi, it's 9 over 10 times the probability of not selecting Mutola, 1 over 8. So if we proceed, 7 times 1 is 7 over 8 times 10, that is our 80, plus 9 times 1 is 9 over 10 times 8 is 80. Lowest common denominator is 80. 8 into 8 is 1 times 7. 7 plus 8 into 80, 1 times 9, 9. So if we simplify, 7 plus 9 is 16 over 80. So let's see if we can simplify. Which number can go into 16 and 80 without leaving a remainder? 8. So 8 into 16 is 2 over 8 into 80, that is 10. We can also reduce 2 into 2, 1 over 2 into 10, 5. So the probability that only one of them is selected is 1 over 5. Now let's look at the probability that none of them is selected. So for none of them is selected, first let's look at it. So the probability of not selecting Mutola is 1 over 8. Then the probability of not selecting Mwambi is 1 over 10. So these are the very important points. So say probability of none of them is selected, so is equal to probability of not selecting Mutola and probability of not selecting Mwambi. So this is what we do, since we are only interested with the probability of not selecting any of these. So probability of not selecting Mutola gave us 1 over 8 times the probability of not selecting Mwambi gave us 1 over 10. So if we multiply 1 times 1 is 1 over 8 times 10 is 80. So this is the answer for this problem. Okay, so now we can move on to question 2a. The question is simplify y plus 1 over y squared minus 1. So for a problem like this one, the numerator is factorized, so which is y plus 1. We just write it like this. Now we need to factorize the denominator by using the perfect of difference of two squares. So what we are going to do is we need to make sure that each expression or term is raised to the power 2. So our y is raised to the power 2 minus 1 raised to the power 2, since 1 times 1 is equal to the same thing. Then we maintain our y plus 1 over. Now on the denominator part we need to open two brackets. Y, the other y here, plus minus 1, 1. So we can see that this here is equal to this. Therefore our final answer, the numerator is 1 over y minus 1. So we can simplify it like this. So we can move on to question B2. The sum of n terms of a geometric progression is given by 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power n. Find the sum of the first 4 terms of this GP. Now for this question, to some people it may seem hard, but the whole key with this question was we are not going to use the formulas that we are given under the topic of series and sequences. Here we have been given this formula, so this is the key. This is the formula that we are going to use in whatever that we are doing. Now we have 4 terms that we don't know. So let's say we have this term number 1, B2 up to. So we are saying we have these 4 terms. We don't know what are these terms are. We just know that we have these 4 terms that we are trying to find for the first part. So the sum of the first 4 terms of this GP. Now the sum is the total number that we get after adding 2 or more numbers. So in our case, the sum of the first 4 terms, so we need to add these 4 terms. A plus B plus C plus D is the sum of these 4 terms. Now the formula given is sum is equal to 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power n. Now from this formula, n represents the number of terms. So let's substitute with the 4 so that we can find the sum of the first 4 terms. So it's 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power 4. So it's 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power 4 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 times 2, 16 over 1. Let's find the lowest common denominator. So it's 16. Now 1 into 16, 16 times 10 is 160 minus 16 into 16, 1 times 10, that is 10. So 160 minus 10 is 150 over 16. So if we want, since this is paper 2, we can make this as our decimal number. 150 divided by 16 will give us 9.375. So if those 4 terms were to be added, they would give us the value of 9.375. So this is the sum of the first 4 terms. Now let me first try to create another picture. If we will have 4 terms, let's say 2, 4, 6 and 8. For us to find the sum of these 4 terms, we just need to add these 2. So it's 2 plus 4 plus 6 plus 8. So 2 plus 4, 6 plus this 8, 6, that is 12 plus 8 is 20. Now, for the question B, the first term, what is the first number in this sequence? So here, let's assume, what is the sum of one number? If I remove these numbers, what is the sum of this, the first number? So the sum of one number is equal to the same number. That's the key point here. So what we are going to do is, let's find the sum of one term. So where there is any, we are going to substitute with 1, since we are dealing with the sum of one term. So it's 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power n. So since we are trying to find the sum of one term, is 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power 1. So 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power 1 is just 2. So we can now divide. Minus 2 into 10 is 5. Then 10 minus 5 is 5. So the sum of one number is equal to 5. Therefore, the first term, which is our A, is equal to 5. Since we are saying the sum of one number is equal to the first term, if we are trying to find the sum of the first number, if these two, the sum of one number, which is 2, is equal to 2, even the A will also equal to 2. So this was the picture for this problem. Now for question C, the first 4 terms. Now for us to find the first 4 terms, we have found the first term, which is 5. So we are just remaining with the second, third and the fourth term. So what are we going to do is, okay, let's think. If we have the first term, what if we find the second term? So if we may have the second term, that second term may help us to find the common ratio. And if we have the common ratio, we can find the other remaining terms. Okay, so let's find the sum of 2 terms. Okay, so let's do this. So sum of the 2 terms, the same formula. So it's 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power n. So it's 10 minus 10 over 2 to the power 2. So we are trying to find the sum of 2 terms. So 10 minus 10 over 2 raised to the power 2 is 4 over 1. So lowest common denominator, that is 4. 1 into 4 is 4 times 10, 40. Minus 4 into 4 is 1 times 10, that is 10. So 40 minus 10 is 30 over 4. So if we divide the 30 divided by 4, we are going to get 7.5. Now let's analyze this 7.5. 7.5 is the sum of two terms. Okay, let's maybe go back to our question. If we have 2 and 4, the sum of these two numbers, we just need to add these two numbers. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So 6 is the sum of 2 and 4. Now, if we have 6 as the sum of 2 and 4, what can we do to find the second term? So for us to find the second term, if we have the first term and the sum of the two, we just have to subtract. So 6 minus 2, we are able to get our 4. So the point is, since we have the first term, which is 5, and the sum of those two first terms, so the first term is 5, and the sum of this first term and the second term is 7.5. So 7.5 minus 5 will give us the second term. So 7.5 minus 5, we have 2.5. This is our second term, and we can see how it is making sense, because if we add 5 plus 2.5 will give us 7.5, the sum of the first two terms. Now, since we have these two terms, we can now calculate the common ratio. So let me make some space here. Okay, so we have first and the second. So common ratio, it is second term divided by first term. Our second term is 2.5 over 5. So if we divide the 2.5 by 5 is 0.5. So they were multiplying each term by 0.5 to get the second term. So here, if we have first term, second term, third term, and the fourth term, so our first term is 5. So if we multiply 5 times 0.5, we get 2.5 here. Then 2.5 times 0.5, we get 1.25 as our third term. Then this number times 0.5, we get 0.625. So 0.625. So this is our first term, second term, third term, then our fourth term. So this is how we can find the first 4 terms. Now, to prove that our answer is correct, let's see if we add these two, if they can add up to the first 4 terms here. So let's add 5 plus 2.5 plus 1.25 plus 0.625. So let's add. So we have 5 plus 2.5 plus 1.25 plus 0.625. So I'm getting the total of 9.375. So this is now the sum of these 4 terms. So this was the concept behind the question from this question B of 2020 for GCE. So for those that may find it difficult, this is how you can come up with the answer. So sometimes it may require you as a student to think outside the box. So if a question comes like this, you need to think outside the book. Use the concept that you've been learning. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.